So the floor is open for your questions. Now the floor is open.
谢谢发言人。经济参考报记者提问，我的问题是关于中非合作论坛的。北京峰会期间，我们达成了一系列的成果。那么在接下来如何落实在投资、经贸方面的合作？商务部有什么具体的举措？谢谢。
In the future plan, do you have already the detailed plan against it? Thank you for your question. Regarding the trade and investment, China and Africa will jointly build Belt and Road Initiative, African Union 2063, and United Nations 2030 for sustainable development, as well as the countries' their own development plans all together. And we will follow the 8 initiatives to conduct the following works. Number 1, we will create more innovative mechanism in investment and trade. China will organize the China-Africa Expo, and we will also showcase the results. In this regard, we will also have the experience workshop to share the experience for companies doing business in both sides. I would like to open new windows to African countries. Second, we will keep moving forward to have more economic cooperation zones. China will take the leading roles and will provide soft and hardware support. We will also help the Chinese companies to conduct business in Africa in certain skills and the scope. From the constructions to investment, we will all provide them supports. Third, we encourage companies to enlarge their investment in Africa. China will continue to use the bilateral committee, the high-level steering committees, and also the other organizations to strengthen the alignment between both sides, and will also provide more support and help to Chinese companies doing business in Africa. Fourth, we will also encourage more business conducted in both countries. China will leverage the International Import Expo to open wider window to Africa. And we will also support business councils and companies to hold the trade fair in Africa, and we will also bring the good brands and good products made in China to Africa, and we will also support African companies to conduct their business activities in China. We will discuss and organize the mechanism regarding the e-commerce, and we will have more business discussions, workshops to train talents. Fifth, we will also organize the free trade mechanism. As we know, we already finished the discussion of free trade with African countries. We will continue to conduct negotiations and discussions with other interested African countries, which will lay more solid foundations in terms of mechanism for bilateral cooperation. With our joint efforts from both sides, we will implement the results in trade, investment reached by both sides during the FOCAC, and we will bring more results and benefits to the people at both sides. And we will hand in hand to build a community of shared future. Thank you. Thank you. From the China News Service. Talking about the FOCAC, we already finished the free trade discussions. Would you please talk more about the in details, including tourism? So with this as the opening show, so China will conduct more discussion with other countries regarding the free trade. As I mentioned, with Mauritius, China will sign the free trade agreement with Mauritius, and this is also the one of it can't with African country. So this is a comprehensive, high-level mutual benefit agreement will include in goods, service, investment, economic cooperation, and other fields. Talking about the goods cooperation, both sides with zero tariff will be higher than 90% of overall goods. Talking about the service, we will open more than 100 fields or sectors for both sides. So this agreement is the highest level of free trade agreement conducted by the Mauritius side. So based on the 1996 agreement reached by both sides, this will be the upgraded version. And this is also China's first time to upgrade its original free trade or a trade agreement. And talking about the agreement that also include the Chinese traditional medicine. Regarding the question you asked about the tourism, we also have the terms and clause in this regard. We will also increase the liberalization facilitation of tourism. So for the business partners, they can establish a service or a tourist agency to provide better service for people at both sides. And the Chinese company can also set up hotels and restaurants in Mauritius, and the Mauritius company also can establish a certain facilities in China, and both sides will be more transparent in the tourist policies, which will provide more convenient and higher quality service. For the free trade agreement reached by both sides will not only provide a safeguard for bilateral trade, and this will also conducive for both sides to reach a more comprehensive and strategic partnerships. They will give more enriched content. From CGTN, my question regarding the China-America trade friction. As we know, the American side will release its measures on a tariff of $200 billion tariff on the Chinese products, and we know that 90% of the feedback received from the public hearings reject imports imposed on Chinese products was the take from the MOFCOM. We have noticed the information going on. So for a certain time of period, the American side seriously not follow the WTO's rules and principles. This is not conducive for both sides. This impact the interests of the both sides companies and the people. They will also undermine the international value chain and industrial chain. If the American side do not want to hear the feedback from the U.S. side, which is a majority of them reject the measures, and they will also would like to take more measures in this regard, China is forced to take countermeasures. At the same time, China would like to reiterate that any coercing or pressuring will not work on China. Trade war does not solve any issues. Only based on the equal footing and mutual respect to conduct the negotiation will provide the solution, and this is only the way out. From Phoenix TV, as we know, the public hearing will be ended today by the U.S. side. So according to the information for that, the $200 billion tariff will be into effect this week. Thus, China has the countermeasures ready. After U.S. side announced the information that they would take or impose the tariffs on $200 billion on Chinese import, China already released our information. On the U.S. side, we already released the information about what kind of products included in this regard. If U.S. side continue to take additional measures, China will take countermeasures. And at the same time, China will pay the close attention to the consequences after impose the import on Chinese products, we will help the Chinese companies to overcome the difficulties. We have the measures, we have the confidence to safeguard the Chinese economy to run in a healthier and safe way.
发言人你好，第一财经日报记者提问：中方曾表示，中美上次接触后同意继续保持接触。
mentioned that the both sides would like to keep contact. So do you have the exactly detail about the time and the place about the following up negotiation? Thank you. According to the information available to me, both sides on the August 24th to the 26th conduct the vice ministerial conference. And the working groups still keeping in touch to exchange views on each other's concerns, and will also provide information to solve the China-U.S. trade issues. Thank you. China Radio, we know the trade deficit narrowed. Do you think this is because of China-U.S. trade frictions, and the trade deficit will keep narrowing in the future? And for the service sector compared to June, the trade deficit in service actually is enlarging. What's the reason behind? We emphasize that China never in purpose to pursue the trade surplus. And in July, the surplus narrowed because we enlarged our imports. And this is also the momentum for the previous changes. From 2016, Q3, the service import released a rapid growth. The growth rate maintained higher than the growth rate on exports, and it's narrowed for the 8 months in a row. For 2016, the growth rate is 2.5% higher than the import, and is narrowed by 2.9% in surplus. And 8.1% higher in 2017, 14.7% narrowed. For the first 7 months of this year, the growth rate in import 7.9% higher than the one in export, 16.3% narrowed. So the rapid growth in trade of goods should give the credit to the domestic unlocked potentials and also the healthy economic development. This is also because China opened its door wider and wider to increase its imports, and this is also fulfill the growing needs in consumption and production. You mentioned about the service trade. For the service market is keeping enlarging. For finance, insurance, intellectual property, and other high-quality service, they all reflect a high demand. And this is also a key reason for the trade surplus. And we know China will keep unlock its potentials, and we will also increase the liberalization and facilitation of trade. And we will open the door wider and wider to reach a balance in trade development. Thank you.
谢谢发言人，央广中国之声的记者。我想问一下，就是我们注意到之前欧委会宣布说对华的光伏产业生产措施是在9月3号终止。那想请问一下，这个终止是不是意味着中国和欧洲之间的这个
The European Union mentioned that they will end the limitations
能够促进我国光伏产业的发展
on China's export in the photovoltaic industry. What's your take on that? So talking about the acts on China's PV, And this is through the discussions, both sides effectively to solve the dispute and reach the healthier development that benefit both sides. From 2016, both sides conduct several rounds of talks and reach a mechanism to solve the pricing, and also put a stop on the situation to be elevated to a higher level, and the upstream and downstream of the industrial chain keeping closer cooperation, and this is well conducive for both sides because this is complementary for both sides. And we noticed that the EU mentioned that there will be stop the ban on Chinese PV industry. This also happened during the big background of unilateralism and protectionism on the rise. I believe this is really the pragmatic measures conducted by the EU side, and this will also bring the PV industry back to the normal market level. I believe this will make the whole environment predictable and stable. So both sides would like to keep moving along this momentum and uphold the multilateral trading system, and also follow the WTO's rules and the principles to create a favorable and a win-win corporate environment to benefit both industries of both countries.
谢谢发言人。上海证券报记者提问。我们知道第13届全国人大常委会第5次会议上，电子商务法获得通过。那么，请问发言人，
At the 5th plenary of 13th CPC
未来会推动法案落实
conference,
是否会有相关的举措？谢谢。
They mentioned they will release plans in the field of e-commerce. So the law on e-commerce, I believe, is coming at the right time. In the recent years, with the advancing technologies in internet, e-commerce has enjoyed a rapid growth. For BRI, for rural revitalization, the innovation, entrepreneurship, economic and industrial upgrading, consumption upgrading, all rely on economy, and this will be the new driving force for China's economic development. And also at the same time, there are also some issues happened in this field that need to be solved from the policy level. The law on e-commerce encourage the innovation and entrepreneurship, and the policies take into consideration about the real situations in this regard, and also the real issues concern the whole industry will also provide a vast potentials to further development. They will also provide the legitimate and the legal rights of the companies, will also to organize a market, run it in a healthy way, and also this provide the political base for the whole market and industry. For the next step, we will take concrete measures, and we will consider two levels: one development, another is law enforcement. So we will encourage the innovative or creative development regarding e-commerce. We will think about the new business models, new companies in this regard, and we will also to do the e-commerce poverty alleviation. Will help the agri-products to enter into the urban society, and will also help the rural areas to develop their e-commerce business. And we will also organize more pilot plans in the e-commerce across the board. And we will also have the coordinated managing mechanism involving more parties and to provide a better environment for the whole e-commerce industry and market. Xinhua News Agency. We have noticed that several issues happened regarding the consumption degrading. What do you think about this news, and what's your take on that? Thank you. We have noticed the news, and also the so-called consumption degrading. This is not reflect the full picture. Right now, we found some products enjoyed a very good sales that reflects the new momentum of consumption upgrading. So consumers, they change their way to consumption from the non-brand products to good brand products. So the well-known brands, they enjoy the very good sales in their key products because of their good reputation, the good quality of products. This is also fulfill the potentials and the consumption need. And the diversity of consumptions, including e-commerce, that actually fulfill the different kinds of needs in different locations, like the rural areas. And this also reflects for e-commerce. There's also a momentum of diversified competition. And third, we talk about upgrading of consumption mindset. So this reflects consumers make their choices more rational way, and they also like to pursue an environmental friendly way to consumption. And we'll continue to follow the momentum to upgrade the consumption channels, to forge a good environment, to upgrade the consumption. We will focus more on the high street constructions. We will also establish the convenience centers for rural areas, and we will also upgrade the logistics system. And regarding the law enforcement, we will also have the overhaul projects to regulate the market in order to let the consumption upgrading be continued in the future. Thank you from Global. Regarding the RCEP, the 16 members issued their joint declarations and mentioned that the negotiation will be ended by the end of this year. Would you please introduce more about the progress and the results in this regard? Thank you. So August 30 and 31st, the RCEP ministerial conference. All 16 ministers or the representatives talk from the trade, investment, and other field. They exchanged the opinions and also talk about the trade facilitation and the government procurement and also custom clearance reached very good results. So all the countries asked their working groups to work hard to put an end to the negotiation of RCEP. Right now, we already finished 4 chapters of negotiation. China always be active in this negotiation. China will always support the ASEAN as a key driver in negotiation, will play a conducive role to work together with other parties to make sure the negotiation can be reached as early as possible. Last question. Economic newspaper. Because of the extreme weathers, the price on vegetables increased rapidly. What's the measures taken by the MOFCOM to maintain the pricing in a reasonable level? To safeguard vegetables and other agri products with sufficient supply and stable price, this is always concerned people's key interests. MOFCOM put a great importance and focus in this regard. And we establish a direct link from supply side and demand side. And for the processing industries, especially processing companies, we invest them to the farmers, let them build up the link together, make sure the good, high-quality products can go to the city centers and urban areas to meet people's needs in this regard. In Zhengzhou, around 231 companies in food processing, and they linked with the 600 farmers. And the contract will be signed, reached 10.3 billion. And in the future, we'll conduct in Xinjiang, Guizhou, Guangxi, and other areas in China. At the same time, MOFCOM will continue to organize the companies to enlarge their procurement quota to stabilize the price of agri-products. And September 20 to 22nd in Shandong, Weifang, we will organize a trade fair to cultivate a large-scale and larger scope linkage for both supply side and demand side because of the extreme weathers. Bring a big impact to the farmers. Right now, all the farmers resume their planting and they replant the cucumbers and tomatoes. These will be harvested and be sold in the market during the October 1st Golden Week. And we will have the specific fairs to provide the link between the processing companies and impacted farmers to make sure the market is stable. Thank you. It's also come to the end of the conference.